People who were on reality family shows as kids, think Super Nanny, Wife Swap etc. How much of it was real, and how much was fiction / set up for drama? Did anything change? I worked with two people who were on Teen Mom, grandmother and granddaughter. OBV, the granddaughter was the teen mom. They told me that the directors would intentionally set up stuff that would cause drama and then start filming. For example, the directors had them go out to lunch and told the grandmother something she didn't know yet and filmed their argument for drama, knowing she would get upset that the granddaughter hadn't told her before, even though she was planning to. Really dumb, unnecessary drama for TV. But apparently the baby got tons of scholarships and support from the show, which is why they did it in the first place, so they said it was worth it. I work for CPS, but not in the US, and can tell you that most kids in those shows, the Teen Mom counterpart in my country, grow up traumatized by it. Also, 100% of the teen moms are CPS clients actually by law in my country. As a minor you cannot have custody for a minor. And, believe me, they show a cleaned up version of reality in many cases. The teen moms flats are never a mess or filthy, because the production has that cleaned up. They don't show the violence and the drug abuse. A great bunch of those babies are taken into state care after a while. Manufactured drama is the worst. Makes me want to move to India. Because they don't have beef with anyone. There was a family in our neighborhood who was on a show here in Germany. One day, when accompanied by the camera crew, one of the daughters suddenly threw a screaming fit in public, which was totally unusual for her. When the mom was asked later what the fuck had happened, she said, "For a tantrum you get $200 extra." This reminds me of an episode of 30 Rock. They're filming a reality TV show, and the characters keep throwing drinks in each other's faces when on camera. $200 for a tantrum in public? Fuck, I'm in the wrong line of work. Yup. A close friend was on MTV's True Life about having crippling social anxiety disorder. The episode was I Have a Phobia. We were a big circle of friends since elementary. We always knew he was sorta socially awkward and battled with the way he looked. He was super insecure and self-conscious about his looks, and he admittedly got teased the most by the more alphas of the group, the most insecure. But we loved and embraced him, and made sure he knew that, and that he was equals with us. Anyway, they filmed us all for a couple weeks in high school hanging out. This was back in 2001 BTW. Going out, etc. He was crushing on a girl we knew. In fact, she was part of the larger social circle anyway, and so they convinced him to ask for her number. One guess this was gonna be the storyline they needed. He already had it, since we were all one big friend group, but they needed something for the story. That was like the big goal for his arc. So he asks one night, while we were at the movie theater. She gave it to him. All's good. They went on one date, but didn't amount to anything. But they remained friends, just as they were before. Fast forward to airing, and I don't know if you remember, at the end of each episode they have just text on a black screen with like, the final update. The text for his final update read, despite finally building the courage to ask for her number, she gave him a fake number. He spiraled after that, and it fucked him up way more than he was before. He turned to drugs to cope, since he was basically humiliated on MTV with hundreds of millions of viewers. He unfortunately passed away from a drug overdose a few years later. Miss you, Goomba. Edit. Coincidentally, MTV has done everything they can to wipe that episode off the internet and pretend it never existed. We've never been able to find it, and a few of us are very googly foo inclined and resourceful with internet archival retrieval, but it's nowhere to be found. Every other ep is available though. They know they fucked up. This is beyond fucked up. Not only for the boy, but also for the girl that ends up being portrayed far way meaner than she probably is. That sucks for both of them. A girl I went to school with was on my super sweet 16. She was always quiet but well liked, and the kids on that show were usually monsters, so we were curious about how the episode would paint her. There was one scene where she was checking in on a vendor, and they said something might not be finished in time for the party, and she didn't have a meltdown or anything, but she said something dramatic like, "Oh no, that's going to ruin my whole birthday party." After the episode aired, her friends who were with her said they did a couple of takes because her first reaction was like, "Oh, that sucks. Thanks for letting me know." I used to like only parts of that show. Mainly when there was finally someone like your friend who was chill and super nice. I guess they didn't rake in the views, but it was so refreshing to see someone appear real. I had some friends on my super sweet 16. It's been so long, I remember there was a lot of misleading things done to invent drama. One thing that does stick out to me is the sports car she was gifted was actually leased, and she only drove it a few times, including the time in the episode. Her parents used the car until the lease expired. To be honest, the parents were typically well reserved with their money and wanted their kid to work hard and her own stuff. The scenes of anger or outrage were out of character for the girl's normal behavior. I knew a girl who was on the tiny homes show with her mom. She said they had already bought the tiny home, and the show set things up like they were looking at a bunch of others and picked that one. Yeah, a bunch of UK shows are like that. A bunch of home buying shows are like that. You need to be under contract to buy a house, or have already moved in before the show films, which is ridiculous. I was on a dog training TV show when I was 8ish. The idea was that the dog trainer came in and helped our family integrate our new puppy into our household to give us training tips and advice, etc. The whole thing was basically bogus. The trainer came to our house for maybe 30 minutes tops and gave us extremely basic advice. The producers also told us we had to get changed and pretend that he was visiting us 3 months later after he gave us the advice, and how it had made our life better, yada yada yada. It's so dumb, because our puppy was clearly the same age in the before and 3 months after. Shots in my family aren't actors, so our reactions were really fake. One of the producers also made me say, "I love you, / dog's name," while hugging him for about 6 takes. Oh no lol, I always suspected this was the case for most of these shows. Haha. The show I was on made us do this for the 3 months later shots too. I literally just changed my shirt